Good morning, YouTube. So I'm going to be posting more videos today, and I wanted to try and do another one real quick while I have time, so that later on I can just kind of upload a bunch of videos at once. I am going to do this video. I wanted to do about the doctor's visits that I had during the pregnancy and how my ultrasounds went, and kind of everything that was happening medically during this pregnancy. So as I told you, one of my very first appointments was at the beginning of October, and then that was like my 8-week checkup basically, and to just confirm pregnancy and everything. Then I had the emergency ultrasound because of some light spotting, and luckily everything was okay. I think they said that the spotting was just a little vein that had ruptured or something, a vessel, or but it was small. It was a small, tiny rupture. It wasn't anything important or serious. And then at that ultrasound, even though it was around 11 weeks and not the 12-week ultrasound, I went back to the doctor a couple days later, I think, to just go over the ultrasound, and she was like, I was like, oh, well, when is supposed to be my next ultrasound? And they were like, not until 20 weeks. And I said, what? 20 weeks? I was like, and I was calculating in my head that at 20 weeks would be right around Christmas. And I was like, oh, I kind of wanted to find out, you know, see the babies before then, especially because my husband hadn't seen the babies during this ultrasound. And they were still, you know, of course, little. The ultrasounds at 11 and 12 weeks, they're still really little. And I said, isn't there any way that I can have another ultrasound in between? Now, the only reason I had asked her is because the tech at my first ultrasound said normally during a pregnancy, you'll have an ultrasound every 4 weeks. So I was calculating that it was going to be around 16 weeks or whatever for the next ultrasound. And the doctor was like, I was going with midwives, by the way. I chose a midwife group that's fantastic here in New Jersey. They're called Avalon Midwives, and they're spectacular. They're based out of Morristown, New Jersey, and they're also located in Caldwell, New Jersey. So they've got 2 offices, and I'm not sure all the hospitals that they work out of, but I know that they are based out of Morristown, so they utilize Morristown Medical Center the most. So I tried to convince her. I was like, I really would love to have another ultrasound at 16 weeks. And so she said, okay, fine, we'll do a growth ultrasound at 16 weeks. And I was kind of hoping and praying that already at 16 weeks that they would be able to kind of tell the sexes of the baby, because I did want to have a gender reveal party. And I was kind of hoping to have that gender reveal party around, you know, Thanksgiving time or whatever. So we went in for that 16-week ultrasound. And, I mean, in between ultrasounds, I was going to doctor's appointments as well. The frequency of all the appointments and all the ultrasounds, of course, got higher towards the end of the pregnancy. And I'll explain that in a little bit. But basically, I had the 16-week ultrasound, and amazingly, they were able to see one of the sexes of the babies. So, and I told my husband, don't tell me. He hates the ideas of these gender reveal parties and whatever. So he was like, oh no, I don't want to do the party. I said, well, I do want to do the party. I think it's really sweet. I think it's different, and it's our first babies. I was like, and they're twins. How awesome is this that, like, you know, we can share this moment with everyone. I said, so I really want to do a gender reveal party. And so he said, okay, fine, but I don't want to be like, I want to know. I was like, okay, fine, I'll let you know, but don't tell me. And I was still worried that he was going to start telling everybody, and that I was eventually going to find out before the gender reveal party. So I had to make it clear to him and to everybody else, I don't want to know. So it was interesting because he knew, and I had friends of mine calling him and asking him. I'm like, you guys are ruining the party. I was like, you're ruining the whole purpose of the gender reveal party for asking him. But I don't think he told that many people. I'm not sure how many people he told, but I don't think he told that many people. And so it was like, oh, well, I can't do it now because I don't know what both babies are, and I'm not going to do a party with just one. So I had to wait for the 20-week ultrasound, and that one was right before Christmas. So I have that video as well. It's a really, really cute little short clip of I did the cakes. So I broke the cakes, and I can do a video of the gender reveal party. That's one of my videos I was planning on doing, and I decorated quite a bit actually for the gender reveal party, more than what most people thought I was going to do. And because I thought it was a special little party, so I wanted to decorate and do like a little gender reveal party. So anyways, by 20 weeks, we found out that they were both girls. And I was over the freaking moon because I definitely had wanted at least one girl. So, and I was kind of actually hoping for girl boy. That was actually my prediction at the party, that it was a girl and a boy. And when I saw the second cake break and it was also a girl, it was just incredible. I mean, I flipped out when I broke the first cake and it was a girl, and then when it was a second girl, oh, I was dying. I feel like I can relate to girls so much better, and everything that I've always wanted to do with babies and dressing them and all kinds of crazy stuff is been with the idea of girls. So it just worked out. Like, God was just on my side. Let me tell you, God was on my side. So that was the 20-week ultrasound, and then I believe it was around that 20-week ultrasound where they also told me that it looked like one of my girls only had a 2-vessel cord. So this is one of the first hiccups that we came along in the pregnancy, or something to worry about. But eventually, in reading more, and then in more tests that they did, it didn't really seem like the baby had any problems. So she had a 2-vessel cord. They told me that their weights were already about 10 to 15% discordance. So they were already 10 to 15% difference in their weights between each other. And that's something that's typical that happens with a 2-vessel cord. One baby is just going to get less nutrients than the other. In general, there's always one twin that's bigger than the other. It's very rare that you have twins that are in the same, like, poundage. Like, for example, it's very hard to find sets of twins that are both born in the 6-pound range, in the 7-pound range, or in the 5-pound range. Normally, there's a little bit more than a pound difference between them, or about a pound. So, and I'll talk about that during the birth video. So that was the first hiccup around 20 weeks. But the real, the outcome of that was that we had to now do more ultrasounds to check on their heart conditions. And at first I didn't understand how that relates to the heart. And then they ended up telling me that sometimes problems arise with only having a 2-vessel cord in the heart or in the kidneys, or that the baby could have Down syndrome. So those were all things that they had to check for. And my nuchal translucency had been normal. All of my blood work was always normal. All of my cervical length, every time they did cervical length, was always perfect and normal. And there was no placenta previa. So the placentas were in good areas, like they were in good positions, and no other like major problems. So what we ended up having to do was actually go to a pediatric cardiologist to look at the baby's heart while they were in utero. And I'm like thinking, like, wait a minute, how big are the baby's hearts that they can see things, or that they can see any problems? And So it was just insane. So I ended up going to 3 ultrasounds to the pediatric cardiologist because they couldn't see the baby that had the 2-vessel cord properly. She was always bunched up into a little ball. She was always like tight, and they couldn't really see it very well. So during the first ultrasound, they said that they didn't see any issues, but that with the other baby, they thought that they saw a little hole. And then, of course, you start worrying about, oh my God, what does that mean? You know, like, what do you mean a little hole? Because they could see a little, I don't know if they could hear a little murmur or however they saw it, but that they didn't see any problem with the baby that had the 2-vessel cord. So then, but they had to see her again. So then during the second ultrasound, then they couldn't see the little heart murmur in the first baby, apparently. And then in the second baby, the one with the 2-vessel cord, they then said that they did see a little tiny hole in her as well. But that she also had, they also thought maybe the chambers of the heart weren't perfectly proportioned or something. I'm not sure. Basically, by the third ultrasound, they were telling me that, you know, everything looked fine, everything looked normal, that we would just have to see when they were born, if there's any heart murmurs that the pediatrician would hear, then they would look into it further. So I will talk about that too during that birth video. So we had 3 echocardiograms. And then that was like in January and February. Over the course of January and February, we had those 3 echocardiograms. Then in between, we also had growth scans and normal ultrasounds to see their growth and whatever. All of a sudden, by, I think it was close to March. Hold on, I'll be back.